The best thing Japanese culture has ever given us? Easy. Mascot characters. And I hear you saying, yes, stuff like Sandri and Chikawa is really popular nowadays, but no? I mean, yeah, they're cool, but they are just the tip of the iceberg. Japanese mascot culture is something that's being largely overlooked in the West, but there are thousands of those creatures in Japan, and each one of them has something unique to offer. Among them are great dancers, defenders of their hometowns, food mascots whose biggest wish is to be eaten, characters with unique abilities, those with an existential crisis, and whatever Cheetah is doing, constantly destroying their physical form, I assume. There are tons of these things out there. They serve many different functions and have found varying degrees of success. But because of their large numbers, it has become harder and harder to create a character that would become popular and obviously generate some money in return. And still, new characters are being created every year, and despite the fierce competition, there are, of course, many franchises that manage to bring it to the mainstream and create beloved mascots, cherished by millions of people. The story of success of each one of them is interesting on its own. What makes people choose one cute simple creature over the other? But there's another curious aspect that needs to be considered here. Almost all of the most famous mascots in Japan are in fact Japanese, created by people in that country primarily for their market. It's clear they usually prefer characters that pander more to their general sense of aesthetics. Most of them are cuter and rounder than our well-known Western heroes. But there are some Western characters that were able to break into the Japanese mainstream. For example, Snoopy is quite a big deal there, even though the rest of his Peanuts friends are not nearly as popular as he is. There are dozens of Snoopy stores all over Japan and even a pretty cool Snoopy-themed hotel in Kobe, filled with tons of details and fun design choices. Another interesting contestant is Miffy, a rabbit character from a series of Dutch children's books. Japan was the first foreign country to publish the series, and Miffy's design was cute enough to stay popular throughout the generations. The franchise actually had a beef with Sanrio over how similar the characters look, but that's a story for another day. And there's also this guy. A bear. And to be fair, this bear doesn't really look that impressive. Maybe you could even say he feels kinda generic with his simple design and quite usual light brown colors. And yet, for some reason, he's the face of a hugely popular series, so successful that it boosted the popularity of the whole theme park and created an entire franchise around himself, which merged being constantly sold out and then restocked. And by the way, he belongs to Disney, of all the possible companies. This bear also wasn't created in Japan, but in the States, and yet he's far from being a beloved icon of his country like Snoopy and Miffy are. Americans didn't really like him because he was just a cute, simple teddy bear. But Japanese, they fell in love with him precisely because he was just a cute, simple teddy bear. To be honest, I don't really like Disney. That's a sentence that could have gotten me in trouble a few years ago, I think, but nowadays it isn't that weird to say, is it? With all of the controversies and pissing off every possible group out there, it's becoming harder and harder to find people that still unconditionally love the company. The situation's not the same in Japan though. Japanese Disney and theme park culture in general, it's a bit different compared to what we're used to in the West, and Disney fans over there are known for being quite hardcore when it comes to expressing love towards their favorite characters. Most of them are also adults. It may be even hard to believe, but according to the official statistics, in 2021 only 11% of the guests were less than 11 years old. And while I don't really care about the brand in general, the dedication of Japanese Disney enthusiasts, known as Disney Otaku, Diota for short, fascinates me to no end. It's a really interesting topic that's honestly not getting enough attention. And the story of this bear is one of the examples of that passion. The mascot was released in the US in 2002 without any preceding introduction. It wasn't the star of a movie or a TV series, it was just a character that was meant to promote the newly opened store called Once Upon a Toy in Disney World Resort. The launch of the new mascot wasn't really impressive, and by not impressive, I mean it flopped hard. No one really cared about it, because why would they? A lot of low-hanging jokes can be made about Disney adults, but apparently people were not really into buying an unknown teddy bear just because it was produced by the brand they liked. The original story behind this character went like this. Mickey went to the Disney park, but his buddies were not there yet, so he wished for a friend to play with. And then Tinkerbell the fairy appeared out of nowhere and brought Mickey's teddy bear to life, which also gave him an adorable symbol of capitalism on his head. That's it, please buy your plushies. And hey, they come in different colors too! So people didn't love the concept for obvious reasons. The bird didn't really look like anything other than a simple cash grab. But sometimes it doesn't matter if the world doesn't care about you, if one special person does. And our special person for today is Goto Tatsumi. At that time he was working as a manager for Oriental Land Company, which operates Disney parks in Japan. He was visiting the States while thinking about inspirations that he could use back home, and when he saw that new character, he thought it was actually really cute. So he decided to bring it to Japan and convince the other executives that this idea was really worth investing in. And they really did invest in it. The design underwent slight changes, like choosing a different material for the plushie and getting rid of the other colors, associating the character only with the classic light brown. After a while, the story also got completely rewritten. Now the bear is a handmade gift from Minnie to her boyfriend, Sailor Mickey. It was supposed to help him with homesickness when he is away. The bear later comes to life because of the power of dreams or something, and they go on adventures together. Because Minnie put her gift in a duffel bag, Mickey decided to name his new best friend Duffy. Duffy. That's actually the first time we say the real name of the bear in this video, because his original creators didn't even bother to give him one when they made him back in America and just called him the Disney bear. That's kind of sad. Anyway, yeah, Duffy became a gigantic hit in Japan. But he wasn't met with instant success. Sure, the plushies and other goods were considered very cute, and when his first batch of merchandise dropped at the end of 2004, it sold out within days after the launch without any bigger advertising. But he still wasn't a well-established character, and he didn't take the Disney world by storm. And it wasn't until the next year, in 2005, when Duffy's new name and backstory were released, so the fans finally had something to call him. But then, things started to change. Duffy wasn't a toy you would buy and then just put on your couch for forever. The core idea of this bear is to carry him around every time you're at Disney, to make him your friend you'll have all these adventures with. And of course, people love owning personal things, so that's where the customization kicks in. There are tons of different outfits you can buy for your Duffy. Give him the cutest clothes or dress him accordingly for the season, and some of the collections are extremely popular. When Tokyo Disney Resort celebrated its 25th anniversary in 2008, Duffy is also a part of it. Besides getting a bunch of different merch, he also received a series of special outfits, with a new one being released each month. They were based on costumes that people working at Disney, called the cast, were wearing themselves. And it was about this time when he really started to become a celebrity. Including Duffy in the anniversary celebrations gave him a huge boost. Suddenly, more and more people were carrying those bears with them in the park. The sales skyrocketed, some of the plushies were constantly out of stock, and during events such as Halloween or Christmas, people were waiting up to 4 hours just to briefly meet and take a picture with the big Duffy. The market became so wide that one bear, in fact, wasn't enough to satisfy it, and Duffy became big enough to receive a special gift from the Disney gods. A female counterpart. According to the official story, he was feeling lonely, so Minnie made him a friend that resembles him. This bear Eve was called Shelly May because of her shell necklace and was introduced in 2010. Needless to say, she became extremely successful as well. Shortly after, both of them were starring in a special show named My Friend Duffy, and it actually replaced the show about Donald the Duck the guy himself. That's how powerful Duffy has become. But what caused this bear phenomenon? What exactly made those characters so popular? Let's ask the experts. When Goto Tatsumi, the same guy who successfully brought Duffy to Japan, was asked about it, he gave us some insight in an interview from 2009. In his words, "We don't know. The masterminds had no idea themselves. It wasn't some kind of big brain strategy. The golden formula for making things popular wasn't discovered. They just threw the most generic looking bear at the crowd and thousands of people decided it's their new god just like that." One thing we didn't mention yet is that in Japan, Duffy is a Tokyo Disney Sea exclusive. You cannot buy his merch online nor in Tokyo Disneyland. This is, of course, pretty well thought out. When Tokyo Disney Sea first opened in 2001, it had a bit of an identity crisis. It was supposed to present a new experience to the guests and be oriented more towards adults. But when people think of Disney, they think of the magical atmosphere and the characters they like, and it wasn't something the park was known for at that time. Duffy managed to change that though. He didn't just become a beloved mascot, he became an exclusive beloved mascot. Want to meet him and buy his merch? There's only one place you can do it, buddy. Because of this strategy, Duffy was able to help Disney Sea reach its current world-famous status. In 2014, Oriental Land released their yearly annual report. An interesting note could be found inside. Within the last 10 years, sales per person went up around 12% to roughly 10,601 yen. The original character of Tokyo Disney Sea, Duffy, plays a big part in this growth. Sales of his merchandise continue to incline in a good direction. Just how did he do it? Well, before we answer that question, let's go back to America for a while. Of course, when Duffy hit gold in Japan, the US started seeing potential in him again. Maybe, just maybe, it was the time for the Disney bear to finally go back home and get the respect he deserved from the very beginning. So he was reintroduced in Epcot and California Adventure. And no one cared! Again! Okay, it would be too sensational to say that literally no one was interested in Duffy's comeback. Some people found him cute, and some were aware of his success in Japan and were very happy to finally be able to meet him. But the big return sadly didn't bring enough money and attention, and thus Duffy was once again snapped out of the American existence in 2015, only making brief comebacks from time to time during certain events. Americans have once again disowned him. It sure didn't stop his progress in Japan, though. Shilly May's popularity proved that Duffy's image was so powerful that it could make other characters succeed just by association. And thus, the brand decided to take a new turn. The ultimate team started being assembled. What's a perfect addition to two bears? A cat, of course. In June 2014, a special invite-only event was held. Selected fans could meet Duffy's new friend, Gelatoni, an Italian cat whose special skill is painting with ice cream. With his cute design based on an animal that absolutely everyone loves, he obviously became a big hit, so Duffy Extended Universe didn't stop there. In March 2017, during another closed event, fans could witness the birth of Stella Lou, a lavender-colored rabbit that dreams of becoming a Broadway dancer. While Gelatoni's first appearance was teased, Stella Lou's release was a complete surprise, and apparently some people invited to that event were moved to tears when they saw her for the first time. Another great addition to the team! And fans didn't have to wait long for the next animal. Cookie and the dog is a sweet specialist who first appeared around 1 year after Stella Lou in Hong Kong Disneyland. That marked the first time when a new friend of Duffy appeared outside of Japan, spreading the hype across all of Asia. Just a few months later, Olumel the Singing Turtle was released in a Disney resort in Hawaii, an island pretty popular with Japanese tourists. And in 2021, Lina Bell the Mystery Solvik Fox appeared in Shanghai Disneyland and became another character that earned all of the money that's in this world. Of course, all of the mascots eventually reached Tokyo Disney Sea, and you can meet with and get merch of everyone there. So there are 7 mascots right now, and given that Lina Bell was released 4 years ago, there's a chance that sooner or later we might meet someone new. That's quite a large amount of characters generating quite a large amount of money. Especially given that it all sprouted from a plain-looking teddy bear that almost became a failed project that no one but the most hardcore fans would even remember about. And the whole pack is very much still popular. This year, the Duffy and Friends franchise is celebrating their 20th anniversary with tons of merch, exclusive food, special events, and basically almost everything that theme parks have to offer. With the excitement those characters generate both online and in the parks, it doesn't look like they'll disappear anytime soon. But why? Why exactly did Duffy become such a big success in Japan while he failed in the US not once but twice? It would be easy to assume that Japanese people just instinctively sense a big hit and thus understood from the very beginning that this bear was going to be a money generator, but it would be quite a lazy conclusion, right? Let's try to dig a bit deeper instead. Many Western Duffy fans noticed that his presence always felt forced in the US. He appeared out of nowhere and the executives tried to make a big deal out of him, with basically nothing backing up this idea. He was a random teddy bear that Disney asked you to care for and buy his merch. It felt like he was a soulless money grab instead of an integral part of the park. Of course, things are different in Japan, where it feels like Duffy actually belongs in Disney. With cute and creative decorations, special events, shows that make up for his lack of any other media origin, or special photo spots set up only for the purpose of making cute plushy pictures, it's clear that he's a part of this place. And there's also the outfit craze. Fans do not only love buying outfits for their mascots, but there's also many people that make them themselves, and that makes their Duffy experience even more personal. He's basically a character that stores all of your fun memories when you go to the parks. He feels special. But he also was just a random teddy bear character when he first appeared in Disney Sea back in 2004. Sure, he has all this status now, but when people fell in love with him 20 years ago, there wasn't really anything special about him, just a cute but plain bear. His setting was as limited in the States as it was in Japan, and yet he managed to succeed over there. How? A few times in my life I heard a theory that Japan just really loves teddy bears and bears in general, and I am not really sure. Bears get some fun media appearances from time to time, and there are popular bear characters there, such as Rilakkuma, Kumamon, or Lotso from Toy Story 3 for some reason. But I don't think the Japanese are more crazy about bears compared to Europe or America. They are not even the most popular animals over there, and they're being destroyed in the rankings by penguins, lesser pandas, and panda bears actually. Yeah, bears but in monochrome are way more popular species in Japan than their counterparts. The point is, while it's a nice choice, I don't think Duffy being a bear was the ultimate factor here. Let's take a look at the other ones then. To be fair, our little guy had a good start. When his first pre-Duffy merch was released in 2004, it was just around Christmas, so a cute bear with a Santa hat seemed like a good thing to buy during that time period. Moreover, releasing seemingly simple characters with no bigger background was probably a bit easier 20 years ago. Not to say it was a piece of cake, but nowadays the market is so saturated that new mascots need to have something truly unique or crazy to them to break through. Or, in other cases, be supported by something like online manga or well-received illustrations that give them more background. But back in the days, with no inventions such as social media, releasing an original character was way more common. Besides Duffy, famous mascots such as Cinnamoroll and Rilakkuma were also born in the early 2000s. Another thing to consider is Duffy's role, being a friend that you can carry around while in the park, as encouraged by Disney. Doing so with your human companions is fun already, but some people extra appreciate Duffy when they're going to the parks just by themselves. Hitori Disney, going to Disney alone, is actually quite a common practice in Japan. There's even a book on it. And while enjoying your time solo is good enough for many people, bringing your bear buddy with you can make it even better. He is as cute as he is silent. And when you're alone, you can take as much time as you want taking nice pictures of him. All of these details are part of the reasons why Duffy has succeeded, while so many others have not. But they still don't give us the real answer to our question. To truly understand his phenomenon, we do not only need to analyze the bear himself, but also look at this matter from another perspective. What are some popular mascot characters in the West? Let's try to name a few of them. Mickey Mouse, Duo from Duolingo, Creeper from Minecraft, Gritty from the Philadelphia Flyers, Chester from Cheetos, Snoopy from Peanuts, the M&Ms, Baby Yoda, Hobbs the Tiger, Philly Fanatic from the Philadelphia Phillies, Freddy Fazbear from FNAF, and let's throw in Discord's Wumpus as well, since I see him every time a person I don't know wants something from me. Each one of them originates from some kind of product, like movies or TV shows, comic strips, games, applications, snacks, or sport teams. We know those characters because we know, or literally consume, their source material, or at least have seen them in ads or memes that went viral. They're being used to promote the franchises that created them, as good mascots should. And Japan has many characters like that as well, beloved mascots born from many different sources. But we can also witness a more unique phenomenon here. Where do Hello Kitty and other Sanrio characters come from? Or Rilakkuma or Sumikko Gurashi? Of course, all of these extremely popular characters bringing home unbelievable sums of money have their own movies or comics, but it's not like it's their source material. Hello Kitty's first ever product was famously just a small coin purse that has somehow escalated into a whole empire of Sanrio that we know today. The other characters have a similar story. All of those beloved mascots originate from the merchandise that was being sold. They weren't promoting anything, they themselves were the product the company was trying to promote. Just like another certain bear. Looking at cute things does weird stuff to our brains. We want to buy them, hug them, punch them. For some reason the point is they are really appealing to having life for many. When people see a cute thing, they often don't think too much about who it is or where it comes from. The only thought that appears in their minds is, I want to dedicate my whole life to this creature. If you're immune to this charm, good for you and your wallet. But seeing how mascots are becoming more and more popular in the West as well, it seems like many people get the appeal. Which is kind of strange, isn't it? Those goofy creatures were clearly designed with children in mind, so why are so many adults getting invested in them? In Japan, the answer is clear. Many people there point to the healing or iyashi nature of those characters. Most of them have the simplest backstories and traits. They are often positive and playful, even if dorky or naive at the same time. And their simple childish nature is the exact reason why so many of them became popular. There's a trend in the West where mascots are being associated with edgy quotes or self-deprecating humor, but you don't usually see this kind of content in Japan. That extra layer of irony is not needed there to appreciate them just for who they are. They don't judge, they don't stress you out, they give you some easy to be taken from granted statements about having a good day and not giving up. And sure, it's not much, but in today's day and age, I guess it's better to have a mascot tell you these things than never hear them at all. Unless of course the true colors of a character is being a psycho, but that's an issue we are not analyzing right now. And all of this might be especially important in Japan. In a society where your needs are less important than those of the establishment you're in. Where, as an adult, you need to be constantly professional and mature. Where breaking out of those frames can be really hard, if not impossible, and the pressure can outright destroy you. When you're chronically tired and have to deal with so much in your life, sometimes a small character, a cute friend that's always there for you, that tells you some nice words about not giving up and being loved, might be really effective. That simple instances of comfort they provide is healing. Nostalgia also plays a big role here. A lot of Kitty-chan's success comes from the fact that adults rediscovered her years after they stopped caring about her. Similarly, the other mascot characters may remind many people of simpler times. Times with no responsibilities, to work, to family, to society, and without so many factors that can make our adult life so miserable. By being silly and innocent, those characters can take you back in time. Evoke those feelings of comfort that many people experience in their childhoods and bring them back for you in your adult life, even if just for a brief moment. Also, guess who else has been around for long enough so people can start feeling nostalgic about him? And you might say, oh, it's so stupid and useless and for sissies and why would you even bother with this? And to be honest, I kind of get it. Especially for people from Western cultures. Our characters and heroes are expected to be cool and witty and entertain adults, even if they are supposed to be family friendly. But it's not the kind of content people are looking for from these characters in Japan. Let's take a look at Agretsuko, for example, a famous anime series produced by Sanrio about the daily struggles of a corporation slave, here in a cute form. While her reception was warm, she constantly places low in the official rankings, often landing below way less recognizable characters. There's almost no goods of her in the Sanrio stores, and she has little to no presence around. Her lack of popularity in Japan might be surprising, given how well received overseas she was. I strongly believe that's because Agretsuko's struggles feel too close to daily life for the Japanese audience. Her being stressed and overworked is something that just feels too real to people who shared similar experiences. She's not Iyashi enough, and this kind of characterization is not why people turn to cute characters there in the first place. On the other hand, Hello Kitty has been criticized in the past for infantilizing women, although most of these voices come from the West. She's so cutesy and pink that some people even called her sexist because of being such a stereotypical product directed mostly to girls. Her lack of visible mouth also used to raise many eyebrows. But there's another really interesting perspective on this matter. Kitty-chan is actually a way for these young women to oppose society in a way. When they grow up, they're supposed to leave their childhoods behind, start wearing makeup and high heels, and do what's expected of them. And mascots represent quite the opposite. They are a symbol of not becoming an adult, of times when you could do things your way rather than conforming to social obligations. They tell you to take care of yourself and do things that make you happy. For many women, those characters represent a part of themselves that they don't want to lose when they grow up and enter often oppressive Japanese society. And for many men, they are a reminder that it's okay to not be manly all the time and that boys can like cute things as well. And of course, this kind of attitude sure does make some older people in this establishment frustrated, as they scream how youngsters only think of their own well-being nowadays. But on the other hand, there are surprisingly many people in Japan that enjoy cute pop culture even way past their 20s. So cute characters are rebellious in a way? Huh, who knew all of these edgy posters from the 2000s were actually correct all this time? And maybe somewhat surprising, the cuteness craze that mascots are a part of is quite new in Japan. It really started becoming mainstream in the 1970s. The fact that it became so popular in the first place and stayed with us for over 50 years now might suggest how much it resonated with people there, and how comforting it is for them to have these things around. Those social reasons play a big role in why such simple characters are so effective in Japan. And it's easy to see how Duffy could also lift up people's moods in a similar way. But we also need to consider another factor here, and that's how easy to consume mascots are. What do you have to do to be a Cinnamoroll fan? Well, I guess you need to like the character, get your daily dose of art and buy yourself some merch from time to time. Poof! Congratulations, you managed to get another part of your personality. Wasn't that simple? No seasons upon seasons of TV shows to watch, no internet drama, just get some cute stuff on you and you're basically settled. And sure, there's always an iceberg of mascot lore and things you can do to deepen your knowledge and interest, but let's be honest, who does that? Cute things are cute, and that's the most important thing about it. The entry level is extremely low and you don't need to put much effort to enjoy these characters, just consume the product. And boy oh boy, there is a lot to consume. That's how most popular mascots in Japan work. You don't need to know much about them, and you don't even need to know their names. Like, I always forget how this guy is called. Is that Morio? Yeah, he cute. Chica is another interesting example. While the original manga is getting tons of attention, the franchise itself is even more powerful. You cannot run away from Chiikawa in Japan. It will attack you at every corner, it's impossible to not know what it is. And it has gotten to the point that some people don't even know that the manga exists. I personally talked with some Japanese people that were saying they love Chiikawa and even had some merch, but were really surprised when I asked them about their thoughts on the manga. They really like those characters, but only knew them from a never-ending avalanche of goods you cannot escape from. And to be fair, that merch still conveys the characters' personalities quite well. I am by no means implying the manga doesn't matter here. It's quite good actually, and you should read it if you haven't done it before. And its social media numbers obviously imply that the majority of Chiikawa enjoyers have to know about it. But it's also a really interesting example of how knowing the source material is not required at all in order to have and enjoy those characters in your life, or even to consider yourself a fan. It's the same with mascots like Kirby and Pokemon. Of course those original games are selling like crazy, but you can be charmed by the pink guy's cute figures, which are also hard to run from in Japan, despite never touching his games in your life. Or you can really want to go to the Pokemon Cafe because it looks so cool, even if you are not happy with how other entries in this franchise look like. It's fun to buy and have those cute things, they are that easy to consume and enjoy. And those franchises would probably never be as successful if not for these factors. From the very beginning they were selling themselves with cute round characters, and it's one of the reasons why they managed to get so far. But let's get back to Disney, since it also benefits from all those tendencies. The original animations and famous characters are very popular in Japan, but then there are characters like this guy, here in a plushie form. Who is that, you ask? It's obviously, an oyster that gets eaten alive in that one segment in Alice in Wonderland. Do you remember them? I sure hope you do, because the oysters are quite popular there, and there are a lot of things you can buy with these little guys. Sure, they had a minor role in the story and quite a dark ending, but it's not as important as the fact that they are pretty cute. Of course, in the case of many other characters, their role in their original series is the main reason why they became popular. But in Japan, there are also so many mascots that do not only have little to no backstory, it's also absolutely not needed or even ignored at times. As Yakumiza Yuri, the creator of Sumikko Gurashi, has heard during the development of that franchise, 90% of the character is their appearance. You can find cute characters everywhere in a country where seeking comfort through them is quite normalized. And the fact you can just go and grab something with them without much thinking is one of the reasons why they became so popular. Some of them are as cheap as candy or a single gacha toy. That's a small price to pay to get that dopamine rush. Although if you want to get yourself some better merch, there's no limit to the money you can spend, and just the fact you buy them is enough to make you feel good about it. Mascots help you get through your day, remind you of better times and heal you in general just by being innocent and looking adorable. They're giving short-lived perhaps, but instant happiness you can buy at every corner. A perfect mixture of comfort and capitalism. And then there's Duffy. Duffy the Disney bear. No elaborate backstory, no fascinating lore, no box office breaking source material. He's a simple plush bear, a friend of sorts, that goes out on adventures with you when you need him. You can dress him, take pictures of him, and he has a lot of really cute merch. He's not a groundbreaking character, but he makes you smile when you look at him and remember all those happy times you had together. A piece of comfort you can carry around while at least temporarily forgetting about the worries of real life. And he's connected to a studio you also have lots of fun memories with. He's just a cute and fun bear. And in Japan, that's exactly what he needed to succeed.
Say hello to Duffy and Lena Bell!
At the D23 event in 2002, a panel on the Duffy and Friends franchise was held. When Duffy and Lena Bell appeared on the stage, the crowd was clearly excited about it. Is the Western audience finally ready for the return of the bear? Well, I am not sure. I at least think his chances are higher compared to his redebut those 15 years ago. Especially because of how popular Japanese mascot characters have become in the West. Nowadays, more and more franchises have managed to capture the hearts of tons of people overseas. And I'm sure there are a lot of Disney nerds out there that would want nothing more than to see Duffy back in America. But at the same time, many Japanese mascots managed to succeed in the West because of the good marketing, nostalgia and memes. And Duffy does not excel on this outside of Japan. While being an adult interested in cute things is getting more normalized recently, it's still not that much of a common practice. It's possible that just being a cute bear friend you go to the parks with still wouldn't be exciting enough for the general overseas audiences. People wouldn't invest so much in a character that's basically unknown to them. Yet, I could see a timeline where Duffy and his friends become the Sanrio of Disney in the Western parks as well. But are the important people out there, all those Disney Imagineers and CEOs in suits, capable of successfully presenting the charm of Duffy to the American fans? Do they understand him enough to do that? Understand why he became a hit in the first place and how to translate it well for the overseas market? That might be the biggest question here. But no matter how things outside of our control will go, I highly encourage you to get interested in Japanese mascot characters yourself. To heal your soul a bit, but also to discover facts and stories you wouldn't really think that cute mascots can bring you to. I'm glad that some of the big Japanese names got really popular in the West, but honestly the phenomenon goes way deeper than that, and we only mentioned a few aspects of it in this video. And hey, some of them are not even connected to soulless corporations. I intend to talk more about mascots, anime girls and other whip stuff on this channel and my not Twitter, so I would be grateful if you'd want to stay here for longer. In my first video, that just probably popped up over there, I talk about a family of Japanese train characters. I think their story is really surprising as well, and I wish more people knew about them. Thank you very much for watching until the end, and see you next time!